Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, our marathon tech-priced SpaceX Extreme. As you can see, the numbers of rockets launched on the SpaceX have been multiplied by 25. They also cost 16 times as much to produce. Science is 16 times as much as normal. Also multiplied by the 4 times marathon multiplier, making it about 64 times the usual SpaceX cost. So for example, Science Pack 1 for Faster Than Light Theory A is 16 million, not 250,000. And even this one is 8 million, and Space Science of course is included. We have already done all of the relatively cheap SpaceX sciences, if you can call the values on these relatively cheap. I mean, that's almost 1 million by itself, but that's relatively cheap, so yes. So we are on Faster Than Light Theory A. We are also still building the dry dock. We started at the end of last episode launching the dry dock structure components, and since that time the full 80 have been launched because, I mean, we didn't bother sitting around watching them all because it doesn't really achieve a milestone. It's just launches, so I think I just showed you a couple and left it at that. As expected, it did slow down a little towards the end as the actual building of the dry dock structure components and the launching were kind of sharing who got the next low density structure as it rolled off the construction line. And yes, FPS really is at 40. What are we doing? So the iron and copper have slowed down, as you might expect with this very simple science that we're doing at the moment, but to make up for it, we are building level 3 modules. Let's put that at a minute so it doesn't jump around quite so much. We are building level 3 modules, 2 of them anyway, at roughly 220 per minute, in addition to everything else we're doing. So that seems to me to be a fair amount to be doing. There's a little bit of residual science packs that are sort of rebuilding their stocks, I guess, after we did command. But yeah, we can certainly handle higher levels of consumption and production at least, and consumption than's currently going on. Circuits, it looks like, are going to need to kick up soon. They should be able to. Let's have a look what's outstanding. Our plastic, our increased plastic supply, that was actually something we should have looked at. Plastic, it has been over 100. It looks like it's just dropped off momentarily, but it had been over 100. In fact, if we go to, say, 10 minutes, there you go, just under, what about an hour? No, 10 minutes. Well, close enough to 100 per minute. Certainly a lot better than it was, and that translates to less in here, though possibly we need to push it even more. If we check out our low density structures, I'm here because I restarted the modules, this one and this one. So our, this one. Our low density structure build is built another 21. That means there is 149 left to build. Obviously, they haven't been launched yet, so they have to be built and launched. But this thing will just go backwards and forwards. Every time it hits 80, it will go off and we'll get some launched. And then the final 10, it will go off and launch the final 10. We might watch the final 10 because that will achieve a milestone. But sitting here, yeah, we're constantly getting a... So the low density structures are now a little bit behind. It does look like crude oil could possibly use another train, maybe. Let me just have a quick look at crude oil. This is where all the crude oil lines up. It does kind of look like we could feed another train to it because it is quite a long. I've put most of them up to this oil here, which now has speed modules, but this thing fills up pretty quickly. I don't even have beacons here. There's so many oil outposts. how many trains in fact are going to this one. There's six oil trains going there. Pretty much as soon as it, I mean this is just about full again. Pretty much as soon as a train turns up, it is filled almost instantly. I also have these two servicing here, but they don't have very many trains each. That one only has one, that one has two. I could easily add another train to, say, this one. I've got a similar amount of oil. As we can see how quickly this one fills up. I mean, these aren't moving, so obviously they could have taken more drain on resources. Now they are. I am using the Make Barrels Great Again mod that restores the capacity of these trains. I actually put it in originally because I had a heavy barrel build on oil, which I ripped out quite early on and went for my revised build. Well, I probably revised it a couple of times actually, but my revised build that doesn't use barrels at all is not heavily bot based either. It is just very compact, lots of little modules. So that saves us from all the problems with barrels. I still have the ability to carry a lot on the trains though, so if I took it out I'd just have to triple up the trains, and we already have enough trains. This is how many trains we have. So yeah, I think I actually counted it the other day and it was about 540, so there's a lot. Yeah, the last one or two takes slightly longer. You can see these things aren't even able to all run constantly, and there you go, and this is just about full again, so it could easily take another train. It doesn't even need beacons. That's with the help of our mining productivity. There it is, 660%. We've got 330%. 330 levels of mining productivity, which gives us that. If you were running on non-marathon research, that the amount of science we've invested in mining productivity would be the same as mining productivity 660, to give you some idea of our investment. But now we've returned to building the SpaceX components, so we won't be going back to that research. And yeah, because iron has slowed down, the demand for iron when all you're doing is faster than light theory A, it's not, well, it's not all we're doing, of course, we're doing these modules as well, but yeah, faster than light theory A is pretty cheap, just red science, so you can get on and do other things like we are with these guys. What are you up to? You're up to 24, so if I keep yakking like this and doing nothing, it might even end up launching while we're standing here. But anyway, what I want to do is basically, we can't launch any of these other components yet, but there's no reason why we can't start building them. Some of them are very expensive. That one, for example, really hurt. 400,000 processing units, so I'm talking about the last time I did it, that one really hurt. It basically dragged out for just about as long as launching the FTL drives themselves. So starting that early is probably a good idea. We can also look for things that use modules, such as the command center. We need to launch 25 of those, so 25 by 800. What's that? That's about... maths is failing me. Let's cheat and use a calculator. 20,000 of each of the modules. That's actually not that bad. Astrometrics. Yeah, some of these module usages actually aren't all that bad. I don't consider 20,000 that big a deal when we're doing 220 a minute. Is that just over an hour, hour and a half? Well, an hour and a half of what the game time is supposed to represent, rather than 60% of it. So really what we should do probably is start building something that is fairly involved but doesn't smash circuits too hard. I'm thinking maybe get the protection field done, because it has that interim product. You need to build the Mark II. You need to build these guys. So we are going to be needing the modules, because it's 5 speed and 5 efficiency modules. Oh, sorry, it's this thing that we're talking about, it's just 10 processing units, so it's not a big deal. Red and blue circuits. What was I thinking? Energy Shield Mark II, not the Suit Mark II. So yeah, it uses quite a lot of processing units and the red circuits, and it has that interim phase, so you've got to build up the Mark 1s and then you've got to build up the Mark 2s before you can kind of get to where you want to be. So I suppose what we would like to know is, or another thing we could do, it's probably fairly simple. Actually, I kind of like a complex and a simple. So that's simple. That's complex. That's, well, complex in inverted commas. It's complex in that there's kind of interim products that you need to build as well. The spaceship thruster is fairly straightforward, although we've got to build the pipe. The fuel cell. Actually, the fuel cell probably should be updated to use nuclear fuel rather than rocket fuel, but anyway. Habitation, life support, command, astrometrics. Yeah, so really the only complex ones per se with interim products are really the protection field and the fusion reactor. So what I'm thinking is we will go over to where we built all the assembly robots and so on here, and I don't even know if I need to do anything with this side of the yard. We could possibly just build it all in here. It just depends how many iterations. But we have the infrastructure, so without just ripping out everything, we have the infrastructure to handle building something slightly more complex and then have it roll along here to be added in at the final end. So let's see about protection field. So what I'll do is we'll jump on board the train, we'll go to the hashtag dry dock assembly area, and we'll reconfigure that area for, oh that's right, you can never get out of here unless you force the hand of the machine. Ooh, no, I don't want to go that way. Let's back up. I'm going to go this way. Dry dock assembly. There you go. We can sneak out now, because there's more than one way around the base, right? We don't have to make the very difficult turn across the lanes of traffic that the machine never wants to let you do. We can actually use this lane instead, so let's do that. While we're traveling, while we're out of map mode and not looking at various screens, you can see the UPS is sort of recovering. The software for recording also lowers it a little bit. I guess that's what you expect with a 5-year-old computer. It was decent at the time. It wasn't the absolute top of the line, but it is an i7, so it is decent. A decent amount of RAM and so on, but I'm sure that other people have better machines that would probably get this right up to 60 even with what we're doing. Anyway, never mind. How are the requests going? Plastic is growing again. There you go, back over 100k plastic per minute, 62,000 red circuits per minute, which actually is still not enough at the rate we're consuming them. Problem with that is it will impact, let's go to 1 minute, we'll end up impacting our module build. The real granddaddy with the modules, of course, is this one, where we need, we do this 25 times, we need 8,000 modules of each type, and we have to launch 25 of them, so that is 200,000 of each sort of module. So that's why I'm trying to get a stockpile while they are cheap for us to build. If you're wondering where we are on the map, we've just passed all of the science. This is kind of Science Alley, I guess. And we are going up past the Big Bro Steel, up this way to, this is where I guess the main oil processing is, and you can see how I've got my individual stacks. And we are heading over here where we did the dry dock assembly components to reconfigure it for building protection fields. So we need 10 of these guys, and it will build one every 10 seconds. We only need 25 of these, so the question is, how fast do we need to build them, really? And are we going to attempt to build them prior to being able to launch them, or we're just going to sit back and we can take our sweet time with it? You guys probably want to see progress that's faster than sweet time, so I guess that's the case. So it's basically 10 of those makes one of these, and we need 1,600. So we need 16,000 per of the first one. That's quite a lot. 16,000 times 25, of course. It's a very large amount of steel. How is our steel stock doing at the moment? Completely empty there. And that one is on its way out. Big Bro Steel has quite a big lineup though, so Big Bro Steel can potentially pick up any slack. LDS1 should be vanishing soon. Sticky keys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a nudge. So arriving at the station is kind of something that triggers the whole thing, and I think what I'm going to call pre-alpha of this mod that does the whole train management, it's sometimes when they're just sitting here waiting for a long time is not working quite as well as I would like, so that's why it's still a pre-alpha, and I'm going to have to take that, so just a moment. And back. So here we are. Where exactly is this? This is where we want to be. Right, good. So what exactly are we going to do? Obviously the final building of these protection fields should be here. And I'm kind of thinking, how about if this was like the protection field, and all of these, instead of assembly robots, were building the Mark II energy shield. So they need 10 energy shield Mark 1s, and the 10 energy shield Mark 1s take 10 seconds to build. So we basically, per each one of these, we basically need 10, so we need a massive array to be able to build the energy shield Mark 1s, and that's kind of what we have here. It's not actually big enough to support all of these, so that's, we might have to cut down on the number, but if this was all just building energy shield Mark 1s, it just needs to be steel and advanced circuits. I think we actually have a whole bunch of steel here. We do, we've got 74,000 steel here. So that's kind of perfect for building these things. We actually have 3 inputs and we only need 2 inputs. advanced circuits. So this one here could be building advanced circuits instead of batteries. Are we complete? Oh no, we're not. We've got 71,000 batteries. 71,000 batteries. So we need to get rid of the excess batteries. And then we could use this platform to unload red circuits. Okay, how are we going to get rid of those batteries? Where are the batteries? That one is heading to yellow science. So what I really want it to do is empty out at yellow science and then come here, which is CR battery at the moment. That name will do. Why do I do that? Batteries. Let's just get back to batteries. So this one that's going to yellow science. What I want you to do is actually then go to CR battery until inventory full. So what we will do is we will reverse all of these. Oh, how did you get steel? It's better. I must have temporarily been pointing to this direction, so I picked up some steel from there. Okay. Maybe I will go in the other direction. There you go. So I can't pick up the steel. Not that there's actually any reason for those to be there. So these requested chests, some of them have batteries in them. Maybe what I do is we temporarily make those passive supply chests. Yeah, that's not exactly what I wanted you to do, dude. The reason I'm doing this a slow way is I'm kind of thinking about what my next step is going to be, rather than being efficient. It might actually be that that is the most efficient way to do this. I'm just not putting enough thought into it to know. So what I'm going to do is, because these are supply chests, we can just request out the batteries to recycle them out of here. And we probably need to do this process with the green circuits as well. Whoops, I'm out of red circuits, that's no good. So not red circuits, red the other things. But if we start replacing some of these, now you guys are going to request batteries in the amount of, yeah, 200 will do. So that'll help us get batteries out of here. It's also given me 24 of these, if I can work out where I got up to. Provider, requester. So, I mean, it's not as important to get the green circuits out of here because we're not going to reuse that platform just yet. But certainly getting these guys out of here is going to be of benefit. We're not using this bottom one at all. So we can see about recycling that as well. That seems to be all of it. How is our train going? It is waiting for something to clear out of its way. Let's go down and have a look. Yellow science is here. So it's waiting for... It's waiting for this train to finish unloading batteries. We should possibly tell this one to redirect as well. In fact, let's do that. You can go to CR battery until inventory full. How many have you got left? It's almost all gone. Unfortunately, this restocking via yellows, they're going to run out soon, so we are going to lose our opportunity to keep doing this. So we'll make the most of it as we can. So what have we got? We have one that's on its way to CR battery. That's excellent. Now, how many of those do we have? 100 flying robot frames. Alright. No, I won't put them there just yet. So, the formula that we want is basically change these. Oh, I'm going to pick up all this junk too, aren't I? Yeah. Change the formula to an energy shield, which of course won't let us put the productivity in, so I'm going to be picking up a bunch of productivity as well. Oh, that was for the plastic adjustment. Huh. That's not where I want you to put those guys. Why do I not have my bots out? I do. But it doesn't want to put the modules in it. No, not that. Not that. Where is this guy? That one. It is at least putting the modules. There we go. A battery train. So what is the tally of batteries? It is 10,000. Not counting the batteries that are already in these requester chests. So you'll notice the middle ones, they already have a very large number of batteries, so they're not really getting filled up. It's just these outer ones. Let's keep going. Let's get this sorted. we probably won't have the whole thing done this episode because we're probably starting to run low on time, but this is the general idea. So we will be building, I don't know quite how many wide we built this. I'll have to do a quick count in a moment. Let's just finish up. Yes, we're getting a lot of productivity modules at this rate. But yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the total here, counting the bottom, is about 66. So if we had about, we only really need about 7, maybe just to keep it even. I'll make it 8 or something like that, of the Mark II protection fields, and then a little train, or this little train running backwards and forwards. How many robots are actually on this little train? 1.2 thousand, that's not too terrible. We'll have to pick them off and inject them back into the system. How much fuel do they use? Almost nothing, as expected. This guy, 41,000. We now have none. No excess of batteries anywhere other than what's in these guys, which is quite a lot. Yeah, that one's got quite a lot. No. Oh, it does that anyway. Okay. So we'll redistribute them. Since they're in my trash, might be the best way to get this supply to extinguish a little bit faster. How many? Wow, they can take an awful lot of batteries. That's completely full, right? Maybe we don't need the other train to come here. Oh, maybe we do. That one's completely full. Alright, well, we'll wait for the other train then. Let's see just where it's up to. This one's on its way out. That one... Oh, that one is waiting here, so it's already here anyway. Now, when that train gets its new marching orders, they probably won't include the CR anyway, so we only really needed to do that kind of once. We'll see how this goes with its distribution now. You need to be completely emptied. It's only this one, okay. Any others that obviously have some batteries but are not able to load? There's some pretty large numbers in here. 2.2K. one's actually full. That should all fit. I think that should all fit. So I can probably leave that alone. That will get rid of our remaining batteries. As soon as it's gone, well, actually, let's go and take a look at our little guy over here. How are you going? 45. So you're halfway through another launch. This really won't be that hard to knock on the head, especially while we are building something here. So what I'll do is I'll probably end the episode about here, but between times I'll fix this up. I will fix these up as well so that we order in the stuff that we actually want. We don't have any engines, do we? Oh, we do have some engines in some of these. Nope, we actually don't have any engines in here. Let's remove the engines altogether so that we don't order more. So it's only steel that we want, steel and batteries. That is the formula for steel and batteries. Steel, and this will be advanced circuits, is the formula for making these protection fields. So that's what we'll do. It looks like we are now completely out of the batteries, which is great. We don't need to have this guy come back. You can just go to batteries load. It finishes loading. See, our battery will drop off. In fact, if we go over to there, as soon as it gets another destination, that CR battery won't be a thing. I mean, if we were worried, we could just drop it off from here, but it will drop off anyway. It only keeps the top two, and then the rest of it's just, it should go. I guess to be sure, though, get rid of it instead of yapping about things, because we don't need it to go there. This is the other one. There. Batteries all sorted. Faster than light theory A, it moved a slither, not very much. That's fine. If we can get components built while it's doing faster than light theory A, that's better than any other way. How's production going? Just before we stop, we are doing our 220 of each module still. It's been going on for a while. I didn't start it an hour ago, obviously, but certainly the last 10 minutes, 220. Red Science, slightly less than... It obviously didn't need to quite do the maximum for some reason, but this one, which is more important, I guess, has been fully at the 12k per minute. So, there you have it, folks. Thanks for joining me. Next episode, we get our protection fields up and running. See you then, guys. Bye-bye for now.